Hello yarn friends. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make this really cute, easy dog hat. It does have, come here baby, it does have some ties underneath the neck here to make sure that it stays on. Good girl. If you haven't yet done so, please make sure to subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up. It really does help my channel out, and leave me a comment down below. Let's jump into the materials and items needed for us to make this really cute, adorable little dog hat. And this girl is gonna get a dog treat in just a minute. A puppy treat, huh? Yes, good girl. Before we get too far into this video, for sizing, the top of the head comes out to about 4.5 inches. Now, if you wanted to make this bigger and still try to stay with the same stitch count so that your ears and everything come out the same as mine, I would recommend jumping up a full hook size to a size 6mm, and that should give you a little bit of a bigger hat. Okay, so now this one's for small to medium sized dogs. As you can see, we have more stitches here for the front of our head. We've got a few less in the back, and then we have a couple straps to go down and tie at the bottom. Let's jump into the materials and see what we will be needing to make today's really cute dog hat. The materials that I'll be using for today's video is just some of this Craft Smart yarn. This is going to be a 4-weight yarn. Any 4-weight yarn will do. This was a much more vibrant color, but then you will also want a H or a 5mm crochet hook, a pair of scissors, and then grab about 4 stitch markers, because we will be needing those, and then a tapestry needle to sew in our ends at the very end. But let's go ahead and get started. Now, to begin, we do want to start with a magic ring or a magic circle. If you're not sure how to do this, go ahead and click the link right above here, and I do have a video on how to do that. You can also start with a chain 2 or chain 3 and then join to your first chain to make a circle. Now, what we want to do from here is we are going to make a total of 8 single crochets into our ring. Again, if you wanted to make this in just a little bit a larger size, all you have to do is go up a hook size, and that should make this just a little bit bigger for you. Okay, so go ahead and check that you have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now we're going to pull our ring tight. From here, we are just going to slip stitch into our first stitch here, draw up a loop, and pull through. So that is a slip stitch. Now from here, what we want to do is we want to chain up 3 stitches, and this does not count as a stitch. And from here we want to increase into every single stitch. So we're going to place 2 double crochets right back into that same space. So yarn over, insert our hook, make a double crochet. So this is into the same space that we slip stitched. Now we want to place 1 more double crochet back into that same space. Okay. And from here, we want to do the same thing. We want to double crochet into every single stitch. And then at the end of this row 2, we are going to have a total of 16 stitches. So go ahead and do that and meet me back here. This is what it should be looking like when you're done with row 2. Now remember, we do have a slip stitch here, so do not crochet into there. So double check that you have 16 stitches. From here, what we're going to do is we're actually going to slip stitch into the top of our first double crochet right here. Okay, completely just not even touching our chain 3 space. Now what we want to do to start row 3 is we're going to chain 3. Again, this does not count as a stitch, okay? Now we're going to be increasing in this row, but into this first stitch where we just chained 3 from, we are going to place 1 double crochet. Into the following stitch, we're going to place 2 double crochets into that same space. 1, and then back into that space, we're going to add another double crochet. Now here into the next stitch, we will place 1 double crochet. Into the following, we'll place 2 double crochets, and then we'll do that all the way around. So at the end of row 3, you should have a total of 32 stitches. Go ahead and work this row and meet me back here for row 4. Sorry, quick correction. At the end of row 3, you'll have a total of 24 stitches. I believe I said 32 before, but at the end of row 3, you will have 24 stitches. Go ahead and work this row and meet me back here for round 4. I have a total of 24 stitches at the end of round 3. Now moving on to round 4, we are going to start the same way. We're going to slip stitch to the top of our first double crochet. We will chain up 3. Now again, this does not count as a stitch, so we are going to place 1 double crochet back into that same space, 1 double crochet into the following space. We are doing increasing on this row as well. Now into the next stitch, so into our 3rd stitch here, we're going to place 2 double crochets into the same space. So that's going to be our increase for round 4. 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, and then into the following stitch we'll place 2 double crochets into the same space. At the end of row 4, you will have 32 stitches. Go ahead and work row 4, meet me back here for round 5, which will also be an increase row. For round 4, we are going to, row 5, it's going to be the same. We're going to slip stitch into the first stitch and chain 3. Now for this row, same as always, we're going to do 1 double crochet into the same stitch that we chained 3 from. Except this time we will be increasing into the 4th stitch. So we're going to do our 1 into the next stitch, we will place 1 double crochet. Into the following stitch, we will place 1 double crochet. And now into the 4th stitch here, we will place 2 double crochets right back into that same space. Just like that. Okay? So that is going to be our repeat row. We are going to place 1 double crochet into 1 stitch, 1 double crochet into the 2nd stitch, 1 double crochet into the 3rd stitch, and into the 4th stitch you will place 2 double crochets into that same space. At the end of row 5, you will have a total of 40 stitches. So go ahead and work this row, and then I will meet you back here for row 6, and that is where we are going to start working our holes for the ears. Perfect, guys. Now this should be measuring, let's see where we are at the 4.5 inches, because now we're going to start the ear. We're no longer going to be working on the top part of the hat. Hopefully if you guys worked up a hook size bigger, it'll be a little bit larger for you. Now if you want me to do more videos with larger size, smaller size, please leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you would like to see, and I can try to make that happen for you. Now moving on to row 6, it's going to be the same as before. We are always going to slip stitch into that first double crochet and chain 3. Okay, now we are going to place 1 double crochet back into that same space to count as our first stitch. Now into the next 2 spaces we're going to place 1 double crochet. So here's 1 and 2. So in total, we have 1, 2, 3 stitches. Now from here, and it's going to be a little bit different than what you see in most standard crochet patterns when you do chain and skip. So we're actually going to chain 18 stitches, but we're only going to skip 9. Now, if it helps, you can go ahead and take your stitch marker now and count over 9 stitches from where we're at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So then we're going to mark the 10th stitch because we're going to skip 9 stitches. And so where we're putting our stitch marker, that's where we are going to be placing our double crochet. Okay, so go ahead and chain 18. Now that we have our 18, we went to yarn over, and we are going to double crochet into the space where we had put our stitch marker. Yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, and go through 2. If you want to double check, you can. Make sure you skipped the 9 stitches there. From this point, we are going... We are going to double crochet into the next 4 stitches, this one included. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now right here into the 5th stitch, we're actually just going to place an increase. So we're going to place 2 double crochets back into that same space. So if you want to count how many stitches we've got from our ear, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 if you include the increase that we just made. Okay, so from here we're going to double crochet across the next 11 stitches. And I'm just going to keep this rolling through this whole row here. So there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I get some more yarn here. 8, 9, 10, oops, and 11. There we go. Okay, now from this point, if you would like to either grab the stitch marker that you used on the other side, or you can grab one of the other ones that we have set aside, we're going to do our chaining again. So we're going to go ahead and we'll skip 9 stitches, and that's where I'm going to mark off. So from where we're at, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, we're going to mark the stitch right next to it. Oops, let's do that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're going to mark this 10th stitch right here. Okay. So we will have our 10th stitches and we'll have 3 remaining. So double check that you have 9 there. We're going to do the same that we did before. We're going to go ahead and chain up 18, and then we're going to double crochet into where our marker is. So I'm going to chain 18 off camera. Perfect. So now remember to yarn over, place your hook into where your stitch marker is, and make your double crochet. Okay. Now you should have 2 more stitches before our slip stitch right there. So 1 crochet, double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. Okay, so at the end of row 6, if you want to check your stitch count, you're going to have your chain 3, and then you'll have 3 double crochets. We will have our chain, then we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 stitches in between our next ear hole. And then we'll have 3 stitches left right here. Okay, so that is going to be the end of round 6. Let's move on to round 7. For round 7, it will be the same as before. We always slip stitch to the first double crochet, just like that. Now we're going to chain up 3, 2, and 3. Sorry, my child just walked in. And we want to double crochet back into the same space, because remember our chain 3 never counts as a stitch. And we'll double crochet over till we get to our ear hole. Now there's 2 ways of working your ear. I have previously just worked around this loop. However, when I was making this one, I decided that I wanted to work my double crochets into my chain spaces. So we're just simply going to work double crochets all the way across our chain. So that's going to be a total of 18 double crochets across our ear hole. So we are completely increasing by doing this, because remember we only skipped 9 stitches. So we simply want to work like that, and then we will just work 1 double crochet all the way around, and we will do the same until we get back to the end of this row. So go ahead and do that, and I will meet you back here. We are getting closer to being done, you guys. So we have now finished putting our double crochets all the way around the ear holes. Now I do want to say at this point, stitch count is not important. We have done the stitch count for the main portion of the hat. At this point, it is okay to lose stitch count. We do not need to count. So we are going to slip stitch back into our first stitch. At this point, we're just going to chain up 1. Now I like to put a stitch marker into this spot here, okay? Now I know I told you guys to have 4 stitch markers on standby. That is just for the ear flaps. This is actually one of the stitch markers that I have made. I do have a few stitch markers available on my Etsy shop. If you guys want to check the description box down below, I will have a link for those. Now, however, the reason I say to get your stitch marker ready is for round 8, we are just going to place 4 single crochets into every single stitch around. So we are going to be doing a massive increase to do that little frill around the edge here. Oh, it got stuck. I was trying to pull it down. So to start working this around the edge here, we are going to work the 4 single crochets into every single stitch except around the ear holes. Now when we get to the ear holes, I like to just single crochet around, just 1 single crochet into every single stitch and not increase into the ears. So over, let's see, this stitch, and this stitch, we'll place 4 single crochet, 4 single crochet, 4 single crochet, and then all around the ear we will place 1 single crochet into every stitch until we get to the end. So remember, we have 18 stitches on our ear hole, so we'll have 18 single crochets, and then when we get back to this point, we'll go ahead and start placing 4 single crochets into every stitch. Now I do not know how many this comes out to in your single crochets. I did not figure out the stitch count, so please do not get upset that I do not have that for you, because like I said, it is not important. If you miss a stitch here and there as we get into round 9, because that one is pretty finicky when we get to our increase rows. So anyways, guys, sorry, I'm rambling at this point. Just go ahead, place 4 single crochets into every single stitch. Right here is going to be my last one before I get to my ear hole. So I'm just going to show you really fast. Now here's the first one. Now again, I'm just going to place 1 single crochet into every stitch around the ear. We do not want to do the ruffles on the ear flap, because this is where we are going to make the little triangle bits for tying off. Go ahead and work this row, and I'll meet you back here for row 9. Okay, so this is what it should look like once we've done our first row of little ruffle increases. Again, we did not work them along here. Moving on to the next row, what we want to do is place a slip stitch into our first single crochet. And then if you remember to put your stitch marker, and then we're going to place 1 single crochet back into that same space there. And again, it just gets a little tight once we get at the end. Now at this point, we're going to place 3 single crochets into every single stitch across. Okay, so 3 here. The only spot we are not going to be placing 3 single crochets into every stitch is along the ear hole again here. Now you can either single crochet or slip stitch. If you do slip stitch across these just to make it not quite as long, don't do it tight. But I would say go ahead and just do your single crochets across here, 1 in each stitch, and then go back to working your 3 single crochets into every single stitch all the way around for row 9, and that is actually going to be the last row of the hat, and then we're going to go on to working the ear straps. So go ahead and do that, and I'll meet you back here to work our ear straps. Now when we get to the end of this row, we can go ahead, we can take our stitch marker out, and we're going to finish off by doing a slip stitch to our first stitch and chaining 1. Now leave a tail enough for you to, you know, go back and sew in your ends, and then you can go ahead and pull that, and then I like to make an extra knot here. Here is what our adorable, easy crocheted little dog ruffle hat looks like so far. Now we are going to work the side straps so that we have our little spots to tie. So make sure that you at least have 2 stitch markers, and as long as you have 2 stitch markers, we can work on one side at a time. I have my little Alice in Wonderland stitch markers here. I love them. Okay, now for the ear straps, I like to count in from our first stitch here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and place a stitch marker. Okay. Go back from our other side, the first stitch where we weren't increasing, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to place a stitch marker into the 5th stitch here. Now you can do this however you would like. I think I did that right there. So we want to have a total of 8 stitches here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I thought that I put that in the 4th stitch, so I need to put that in the 5th stitch. Okay. So now that you have your 8 stitches marked, we can go ahead and start working the ear flaps. Now you can mark off the other side at this point if you would like, but for demonstration purposes, considering I already have one done over here, I'm just going to do the one side for now. Now with your work facing out, it really doesn't matter what way you start this. We want to connect our yarn. So I'm going to make a slip knot. I go ahead and just add that onto my hook, pull that through, yarn over, and chain. So that's how I like to attach my yarn. Now for this first row of the ear straps, we are just going to single crochet all the way across. This is not going to count as a stitch, this chain 1, so we want to go back into that same space and make a single crochet. So at this point we want to go all the way across. We're going to have a total of 8 single crochets when you are done. Now that we have our 8 single crochets, we're going to chain up 3, and this is not going to count as a stitch. We will turn, yarn over, and make a double crochet right back into that same space, and then we're just going to double crochet all the way across. Now we're going to do that for row, because this is row 2 of our ear strap. We're going to do that for rounds 2 and 3, just 1 double crochet into every single stitch, so you'll have a total of 8 double crochets. So go ahead, we're almost done with row 2, so work row 2, row 3, and meet me back here for row 4. For round 4 of our ear strap, we're going to chain up 3 and turn our work. Now we're going to be decreasing over the first 2 stitches and over the last 2 stitches. Sorry guys, I'm making dinner right now. So we're going to yarn over, insert our hook into the first loop, and drop a loop. We're going to have 3 loops on our hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Now into the next space, we're going to yarn over. We're going to go into that next loop or space, draw up a loop. So now we have 4 loops on our hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through 2. You should have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3. Okay, so go ahead and do that at the beginning, and then let's see, 1, 2, and then crochet over the next 4 stitches here. I'm just going to show you once how to do the decreases, because this is going to be repeating all the way down until you have 1 stitch. Okay, so 1 more here. So now we're going to decrease again. So we're going to go through 2, yarn over, go into the next stitch, go through 2, and go through 3. Okay, so now for the remaining rows, we are going to be decreasing into the first 2 stitches of every row here. So at the first 2, sorry, getting more yarn. Now we're going to crochet into the next 2 stitches, just like that. And into the last 2 stitches, we will make a double crochet decrease, chain 3, and turn. Now you should have 4 stitches left, so now we're going to have just 2 decreases. And we're just working decreases until we only have 1 stitch left. Okay, so chain up 3. So now we have 2 stitches. We're going to decrease over these 2. Chain 1, and after you chain 1, you just want to slip stitch right into that stitch there. Okay, so this is our ear flap, and at this point I did a chain of 30 on this one that I did here. So I just did a chain of 30 and then cut off and then called it a day. So at this point, chain 30 or however many you feel like that you need for your dog. And then after you are done doing this side, you will do the same over here. You'll count in 4 stitches, you'll count in 4. If it's not even, that's fine. You can start from the middle and just count out 8. And then just make your ear flap. And then it will look something like this when you are all done. Where's the other ear flap? There we go. It'll look something like this when you are all done. Now the side that has the less amount of ruffles, this is going to be your back side, and the most ruffles, this will be your front side. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's tutorial. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. I would love to have emailed pictures of your finished products. So check the description box down below. I do have an email where you can send me your finished products. You can also follow me on Instagram as well. I'm just Dream9Design on Instagram. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's really cute, really easy dog hat crochet dog hat thing here. I hope to see you all next time for another tutorial. Make sure you are subscribed, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you all at another video. Bye, yarn friends.